Okay, so feedback for user for HCI, special design consideration for e-commerce. This topic is all about feedback for users and also the special design consideration for e-commerce. But I will only discuss about the feedback for users, and the following topic would be discussed by my group mates. So without further ado, let's get started. What is feedback? Feedback is an information about reactions to a product, a person's performance of a task, and which is used as a basis for improvement. So when we hear feedback, one thing comes in our mind. The term feedback is the message, what we receive from one person to another. By definition, feedback is an information about reaction to a product. By the definition itself, it is the reaction. For example, you are buying a product to a company or the store. By using the product, you can now generalize and create a reaction about the product you bought and also its services. And if you are also the owner of the product, you can receive also feedback coming from your customer and vice versa. So what is user's feedback? So users' feedback is any information that your customers provide you with regarding how your company or your products or services helped them in some way. As I said earlier, it is the message or action coming from the users. So it usually consists of their level of satisfaction with you and what satisfies or dissatisfies them. Every company will receive feedback from the consumer or customers. If the customers meet their satisfactions of the product, and it also helps the company adjust or improve their services in order to receive good feedback for the user. So here are some overview of the topic. Feedback to the user from the system is necessary in 7 distinct situations. Feedback that is ill-timed or too plentiful is not helpful because humans possess a limited capacity to process information. Website should display a status message or some other way of notifying the user that the site is responding and that input is either correct or in need of further information. Nowadays, buying or shopping through online transaction is vital because of technological advancement. Let's say, for example, you are using Shopee app or any shopping website. When you are going to place an order, there is a display in which you fill up your information to which it will be delivered. Then, the site will notify you if there is wrong within your information and you can change it directly. So that was that we call system feedback. When users interface with machines, they still need feedback about how their work is progressing. As designers of users' interfaces, systems analysts need to be aware of the human need for feedback and build it into the system. In addition to text messages, icons can often be used. For example, displaying an hourglass while the system is processing encourages the user to wait a while rather than repeatedly hitting keys to get a response. So at this point, assume that you are saving your documents or you are downloading documents or etc. There is a progress display that will enable to notify you if your downloaded file is already completed, and there is a time that that is the basis for you to wait until your file is completely downloaded. So there are types of feedback. So first is acknowledging acceptance of input, and the second is recognizing that input is in the correct form. So acknowledging acceptance of input, the first situation in which users need feedback is to learn that the computer has accepted the input. So when you are going to to log in, or you want to log into your Facebook account, there is a login form wherein you were going to input your username and the password. So if your password is not correct, so you cannot go directly to the homepage of the Facebook. So if it is correct, then there is an the system will notify you that you are log into Facebook successfully. So for example, when a user enters a name on a line, the computer provides feedback to the user by advancing the cursor one character at a time when the letters are entered correctly. So next is recognizing that input is in the correct form. So users need feedback to tell them that the input is in the correct form. For example, a user inputs a command and the feedback states ready. As the program progresses to a new point, a poor example of feedback that tells the user that input is in the correct form is the message input OK, because that message takes extra space, is cryptic, and does nothing to encourage the input.
Hi, good evening. My name is Abdurrahman J. Jamiri. So our topic is feedback for users, spatial design consideration for e-commerce. So we will have notifying that input is not in the correct form. Meaning is feedback is necessary to warn users that input is not in the correct form. When data are incorrect, one way to inform the user is to generate a window that briefly describe the problem with the input and explain how the users can correct it. Like for example, ito, mm, when you fill out any form in the website, example, magawa ka ng account sa email, then it should, example like this, inline validation pre-submission. So my phone number, so if you're in the Philippines, you should put like 0906, blah blah, ganun. And the email, it should be Peter Parker Yahoo gmail.com.ph. So that is a valid email. The address, it should also Zamboanga City State Polytechnic College. That. Then, explaining a delay in processing, one of the most important kind of feedback is inform the users that there will be a delay in processing his or her request. Delay longer than 10 seconds or should require feedback so that the users know the system is still working. Example is finishing the test on time using timer. So when you're taking an exam, so may timer ang exam, so you should pass it on a time. Because when you pass it on late, your exam will be disappear and you cannot pass it, right? Third is acknowledging that a request is completed. Users need to know when the request has been completed. A new request may be input up then a specific feedback message is displayed when an action has been completed by a user, such as employee record has been added, customer record has been changed, or item numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been deleted. This is an example of an acknowledging. So, dear Hannah Kudnitsova, we are happy to let you know that we have approved your application for a Payoneer account. Ready to get started? Sign into your account now and let's start receiving payment from companies around the world. Your username is Hannah Kudnitsova. Ito yung magiging resulta kapag you pass your completed information from the site you fill out. Next is notifying that a request was not completed. Feedback is also needed to let the user know that the computer is unable to complete a request. If the display read unable to process request, check request again. The users can then go back and check to see if the request has been input correctly rather than continue to enter command that cannot be executed. Example, nag-fill out ka ng form sa assessment or sa exam. Hindi when you click yung back tapos hindi siya gumagana, hindi mo siya mapindot. So you should press it. You should to process it request, parang nire-request mo siya ulit. So that will be request not completed. Next is offering the users more detailed feedback. Users need to be assured that more detailed feedback is available, and they should be shown how they can get it. For example, nag-post ng link sa page ng trade. So, malalaman mo yan kung kailan nila pwede ma-release yung site. Saka ka mag-fill out ng mga information mo. Next is including feedback in design. If used correctly, feedback can be a powerful reinforcer of users' learning processes, serve to improve users' performance with the system, increase motivation to produce, and improve the fit among the users, the tasks, and the technology. So, when you're making a website, your website should be easy to understand. No, parang walang lito. Na the instruction should be clear to understand. Para matutunan din para alam din ng user that how to fill out their form. Kumbaga, parang light lang yung question niya na easy to understand. That's
Hi guys, my name is Aiza Marisante. I'll be discussing special design considerations for e-commerce, soliciting feedback from e-commerce websites, customers, and easy navigation for e-commerce websites. Special design considerations for e-commerce. Many of the users' interface design principles you have learned concerning feedback also extend to designing e-commerce websites. A few extra considerations shown in this section can give your web interface designs improved functionality. So you can see, this is the example of creating e-commerce website. So creating e-commerce website, so you have to match your design with your products. Proper products showcase and descriptions, shipping rates, shopping cart design, and etc. Soliciting feedback from e-commerce website customers. Not only do you need to give users feedback about what is happening with an order, but you need to elicit feedback as well. Most e-commerce websites have a feedback button. So there are two standard ways to design what users will experience when they click on the feedback button. So these are the two standard ways to design user experience. The first one is to launch the user's email program with the email address of the company's contact automatically entered into the field. This method prevents typing errors and facilitates ease in contacting the organization. The users does not need to leave the site to communicate with it. These messages, however, raise expectation that they will be answered just as regular mail or phone calls are. So the second one is to take users to a blank message template when they click on feedback. Some web creation tools permit you to create and insert a feedback form into your site easily. So let's move on. Easy navigation for e-commerce website. Many authors speak of what is known as intuitive navigation for e-commerce websites. Users need to know how to navigate the site without having to learn a new interface and without having to explore every inch of the website. before they can find what they want. The standard for this type of navigational approach is called one-click navigation. So there are 4 ways to design easy one-click navigation for an e-commerce site. The first one is creating a rollover menu. Second one is building a collection of hierarchical links so that the home page becomes an outline of the key topic headings associated with the website. The third one is placing a sitemap on the home page and emphasizing the link to it. This would also be placed on every other page on the site. And the last one, placing a navigational bar on every side page. Placing a navigational bar on every side, usually at the top on the left side of the page. That repeats categories used on the entry screen.
Hello guys, my name is Patrick John M. Brillantes of BS Infotech 2C Group number 8, and this is my report. Easy navigation for e-commerce websites. Many authors speak of what is known as intuitive navigation for e-commerce websites. Users need to know how to navigate the site without having to learn a new interface and without having to explore every inch of the website before they can find what they want. The standard for this type of navigational approach is called one-click navigation. 4 ways to design easy one-click navigation for an e-commerce site. Number 1. Creating a rollover menu. A rollover menu or rollover button can be created with cascading styles with JavaScript and HTML divisions. The rollover menu appears when the customer using the website moves the cursor over a link. You can see the example below. Number 2. Hierarchical links. Creating an outline of the content of the site through the presentation of a table of contents on the home page is another way to speed navigation of the site. This design, however, imposes severe constraints on designers' creativity, and sometimes simply presenting a list of topics does not adequately convey the strategic mission of the organization to the user. You can see the example below. Number 3. Sitemap. Sitemap. Designing and then prominently displaying the link to a sitemap is a third way to improve navigational efficiency. Remember to include the link to the sitemap on the home page and on every other page as well. You can see the example below. Number 4. Navigation bar. Finally, you can design navigation bars that are consistently displayed on the home page as well as at the top and on the left of all other pages that comprise the site. Once you have established during the information requirements phase, the most useful and most used categories, usually categories such as our company, our products, buy now, contact us, sitemap, and search. Remember to include them on all pages. You can see the example below. Designing a website with navigation for users with different cognitive processing or interests is desirable. It is even possible that the same user may use all three of these methods at different times. All of these add to the usability of a website. The main priority in navigation is, however, that whatever you do, you must make it extremely easy for users to return to a previous page, and make it somewhat easy to return to the place where they entered the client site. In short guys, kung gagawa naman kayo ng navigation bar, yung kahit simple lang at yung hindi masyadong complicated para mas madaling gamitin. Your main concern is keeping customers on the website. The longer customers are on the site, the greater the chance is that they will purchase something. So make sure that if users navigate to a link in your client's website, they can easily find their way back. Doing these things will ensure the stickiness of the website. Do not create any barriers to the customers who wants to removes client's website. Yun lang guys. Thank you.